Hey, everybody. Welcome back. Another edition of the Hops Geek News, a podcast about basically pop culture, geeks, comic books, everything under that sun there. We love it all. I am Mash. Alongside me is Hoppy. You can find us, searching Hops News on any of your streaming platforms and on YouTube. And give us a like, subscribe, share.
Well, if they're listening, they
Share.
probably found us. So good for
That
you.
is also true. If you are listening, you did find us. In which case, tell your friends, tell your wife, tell your husband, boyfriend, girl. I don't
Tell
care
your
who you tell.
neighbors.
You better tell everybody. So, really appreciate you for joining us. We have a great episode today. We are going to talk a little bit of news. We're going to talk about what we've read. And then we have Woodland Empire from Boise, Idaho. They are actually going to be on. And Robin Keeley from, they are the owners. They really great people. And so I can't wait to talk to them. But first, I'm drinking a Wapow from Ivanhoe.
Yes.
That's what I got going on. A little.
Orlando beer.
We're filming the day after Veterans Day. I know I talked about this beer last week. I didn't actually drink it, so I'm drinking it right now in honor of the Wapow of an episode that we got going on. So, what do you have drinking over there?
Well played. I actually just cracked open a beer from our very own Lucky. I
I
think
saw
it's
that
Lucky
cat
because I
on
think
the
it's
can.
Wisconsin
I
beer. Yep,
know
Madison,
where that is.
Wisconsin.
Yes.
Yes. Fantasy Factory. It's actually a very good. I was a little concerned because I need to reorganize my fridge and do the first in, first out approach. So
Me
this was
too.
one of those that kind of got lost in the fridge. It's an IPA. It's just a basic IPA, Carbon 4 Brewing in Madison, Wisconsin. And honestly, it's pretty damn good. And now, anytime I drink a beer that's good, that's a little aged, I'm like, oh, it would have been so much better if I had drink it fresh. What was I doing?
I have that
But I mean,
same
this can art,
problem.
if you're watching on YouTube,
It's a cat riding a
shit, this can
unicorn,
art is
damn it.
perfect.
It is a
Yeah.
cat riding
And it
unicorn. I
says,
got a silo blasting off, but she's got a cat on a fucking unicorn.
well, it says Hot Paid's crusade on a heroic quest for the holy grail of IPAs. The subconscious composes I can't, I'm just going to stop.
I would
But there's
read
a
the
whole
shit out of
description on the side.
that. I'm really jealous. No, that beer I have had. So last year at this time, I was actually in Green Bay, Wisconsin, for a Packers Lions game for my birthday on our middle of our move to Idaho, and I saw that beer and I was like, a cat riding a unicorn. I gotta have this, and so I did, and it was yeah. I mean, it's
With a
pretty good.
gun and
It's
like a Rambo bandana.
that's
And
something I would
it's,
get
yeah.
tattooed. I would get that tattooed on my body just because of
And
the
the
randomness.
unicorn's breathing fire out of its nose and has like laser
Listen,
eyes.
words do not
There's a lot
describe the
going
can
on.
art that we have going on, but like I said, I stand by it. I would get that tattooed tomorrow.
All right. I
So
will be posting this label for all of you who are listening on the podcast platforms and are like,
yes,
what in the hell? And who are not from Wisconsin are like, what in the hell is happening?
it's great. Wisconsin has a lot of great beers. On
Who
tap,
knew?
Wisconsin's like the mecca. But on tap, I have a beer from our
Are they though?
guest that you'll hear about a little later. Swallow My Pride, which I'm pretty excited about. Woodland
Ooh.
Empires, they do great things. But yeah, so we got some things coming up. We have a little Zack Snyder news from the Justice League / BVS. We have some Peacemaker news. We finally got that WandaVision news,
Thank
Doctor
God.
Who, and maybe a little Harry Potter news. And then on top of that, like I said, we talked to Woodland Empire. So before we get started, we always have the we're not experts because let's be honest, we're just a couple of geeks who are past our primes and we like to
Pastor
just discuss
Price.
things in life. And we're
I
not
feel
always
like,
right about a lot of things. So we always like to go back about last week's episode and kind of fix some mistakes that we made. What kind of mistakes did we make this time? Besides me being boring.
well, I feel like we need the sound clip of like Alicia, Jesus Christ, Alicia Silverstone saying like, my bad. So this was on me. There's probably more if anybody else heard others call us out. So I made a comment about Savage Land being an old man Logan. I knew full well Savage Land is not an old man Logan. Savage Land
Liar.
is actually a prehistoric hidden whole land in Antarctica. And if you've read any old school Wolverine, old school X-Men, like this comes up. Like there's comic books with dinosaurs in it, and that's where Savage Land is. To me, I kind of viewed it as like what is it, like Journey to the Center of the Earth kind of thing. But in Old Man Logan, it's actually called Wasteland. That's what I was referring to as Wasteland.
Oh, yeah.
Because when I was making the comment about Red Skull wearing Captain America's outfit, and you're like, that's Savage. I'm like, it's called Savage Land. No, it's not called Savage Land. I'm a dumbass. But yeah, that was a brain fart on my part. But I had not finished my coffee and it was Sunday morning. I can't
It was.
function
We
before
only
coffee.
recorded a few
So let's
days
move
ago,
along.
and so we were drinking coffee, not beers, which is why I'm catching up on the beers now.
Oh, I'm
So
catching up on all the beers tonight.
yeah, we recorded Hops News, the main show tonight. It is Thursday when we're recording. You'll hear this next Thursday. Um, and so we had Danny Oliver and Veronica from Beers
They were
Giving. They were
amazing.
amazing. If quick plug for that show is if you get a chance to check out Beers Giving, Island to Island Brewing, anything of that nature, Danny Oliver is just crushing it. She's
Just
absolutely
kicking ass
crushing
and
it right
taking
now.
names.
There's nothing that she can't do. She's probably one of the stronger women that we've had the chance to actually talk to. So check them out. Aside from that, what have
What?
we read or watched this week? We say this week, it's been
Yes.
3 days. I haven't really watched or read anything. I've been watching the
Right.
newest holiday baking championship. It's 2020. Normally I start the
That sounds
Christmas
terrible.
traditions on Thanksgiving. However, this year's been just a fucking mess and
There's no
everything is
rules
crazy.
anymore.
So there are no rules now. And so we watched Holiday Baking Championship, just a couple episodes. I love Duff Goldman. He's like one of my favorite people. I love to bake. If you know anything about me, I bake really fucking good cookies, which I'm probably going to send your way here in a few weeks.
Well, I will have my daughter bake you some and send them back because
So
I can't bake for shit, nor do I enjoy it.
I enjoy cooking and baking. I'm like a housewife. That's just how it is.
I
I'm a
hate
40s
cooking and
housewife. My
baking.
wife beats me if the cooking isn't done by the time she gets home. Um,
I
so
loathe those
I've watched
things.
that, and then I picked up Madden 21. I tell myself every year, I'm not gonna buy Madden. I'm gonna buy something else. Well, guess what? I bought Madden,
I'm
and I've
gonna
been
buy
playing,
something else.
and I just mindless, stupid video games. So I've been playing video games and doing that kind of stuff. There is the PS5 has just released, and with that, Spider-Man Miles Morales has come out. I can't wait to play that game eventually. I think it's only on PlayStation 5, so I will get to it at some point. But we'll talk about it eventually. How about you? Have you tend to
What's going on with that though? Well, before we start talking about what I read or watched, like what's with because my Amazon Fire Stick is showing me like watch the whole Spider Verse on PS5. So is this like PlayStation View that they just because
it's a
why?
video game, so they're probably just trying to get you to watch gameplay.
But you no, you can watch all the Spider-Man movies. So
Huh.
I don't know.
I maybe you just get to watch all the Spider-Man movies. I don't actually know. All I know is
All
that
right.
there was a Spider-Man for PlayStation 4 that released. Super fun game. Loved that game. I wish they would have more. Like I wish the Avengers game was that. Um, but now they have a
Ah,
Miles Morales version for PlayStation 5 to kind of go along with the launch of the PS5, Xbox One, the Xbox X, whatever you want to call it. I'm not an Xbox guy, I'm a PlayStation guy. And so that just released too. So they kind of both came out the same week. It's sold out everywhere. It's mayhem, chaos, riots in the streets.
right.
Hide your children, hide your wives.
Well, no, well they have. I honestly I didn't look into it because I figured you would know, but I'll look into it for next week for anybody who doesn't learn by then. On the Fire Stick, it's like watch all of your Spider Verse, and it has a picture of Tom Holland. It has Miles Morales from the Spider Verse, and it even had Tom Hardy as Venom in like the advertisement. So, and you can't watch any of the Spider-Man movies on Disney
Don't
Plus.
don't watch Venom. Just don't watch Venom.
Oh, I've already seen it. Too late. It was god awful, but
You didn't love
I
Tom
didn't know
Hardy
I said
diving
god
in a
awful so much
thing of
until we
fucking
started this podcast.
lobsters. God.
Just that voice. Good
Don't
lord.
watch
Okay.
Venom.
So I did not watch Venom this week. Again, I haven't watched much. It's only been 3, 4 days since we last recorded. I did go to the comic book shop today and I picked up the new Oblivion songs. So
Damn.
I will be watching or will be reading that. But I've been watching a little bit of Preacher. I've been watching it very slow because it
I
hasn't
didn't like
grabbed
it.
me. I had very high expectations because it's the same guy as Garth Ennis from The Boys. And I love both the main characters, the Dominic Cooper and the
Oh
other girl.
yeah.
I think her name's
I don't
Ruth.
remember her name. Yeah, her name in the
It's Ruth
show's Ruth.
something.
Isn't
No,
it?
no, no. It's Tulip
Oh,
in the show.
that's right.
Her
It's
name in real
Tulip.
life is Ruth.
Yes,
And
yes, you're
she's
right.
from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. She was Flowers. They would nickname her Flowers because she always had flowers on her dress or
How
something. And then
original, guy. She already played a flower name.
well, she was an Inhuman, and then she had like a spiky face kind of thing. I don't know, but I love both those characters. They're both from the MCU, and the show has gotten better. I'm on season 3. It's definitely gotten better, but I don't love it, and I'm only continuing to watch it because it's from Garth Ennis, and I heard it was good. So I'm expecting it to
That makes sense.
kind of wrap up and be amazing maybe.
I
So
never
we'll see. But
finished the
that's about all
show.
I
I'm
watched
gonna
this
be
week.
100% honest with you. I never actually finished the show.
But once I do finish it, I'll let you know if it's worth it.
So yeah, that was one of the things my wife was like super into. She read Preacher. She knew about it before I did. I just never got
Okay. See,
into it.
reading it beforehand might make it better because the Hop Heroes guys, one of them said recommended it as the show. But if I don't love the show, I don't much have a desire to read the book. Although I do still want to read Game of Thrones because I feel like it would make me better enjoy the end. I only read the first book,
Oh,
and it
nothing's gonna
was
make you enjoy the end. Nothing will make anybody in this universe enjoy the.
I didn't hate it, but that's for another maybe we'll do that on the anniversary of the series finale. Okay, so that's enough before because I know you'll go off on a tangent about how
I
much you
will.
hate
You're
it.
right. Game of Thrones. I wish we can get Aaron. If anybody listens and they know Aaron Rodgers, please get me Aaron Rodgers on this show, and we will Game of Thrones the fuck out of this show, please. And just because I love
Right, so
him.
news. Da 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 da.
Anyways, we do have some news. The news is that I have a hard on for Aaron Rodgers. That's not actually news because everybody who knows me should already know this. But what is news is that Zack Snyder wanted in his version of Batman that Bruce had married and then divorced Selena Kyle previous to the events of Batman v Superman. And he wanted Carla Gugino, I don't know if that's how you pronounce her name, but you know her as Sally Jupiter in Watchmen. You know her as the narrator from the recent Haunting on Bly Manor. And then she was also in The Rock's San Andreas. But he wanted her as Catwoman. That's interesting that because there's a lot of iterations of Batman to which they always have that the Catwoman Batman love affair, blah blah blah. Oh, Bruce, I know who you are. So they do have a thing in a lot of comics, and so the fact that his version they got married and then divorced. I wouldn't have minded that. I think because it would
I
have
mean, of
brought
course,
some
Batman would get divorced. Nobody can live with that except Alfred.
true, and even Alfred's like fuck you half the time, but
Right, but he views him as a kid. He can't just leave.
yeah, he was around since Bruce was born, and
Mm.
but I mean, you're always so used to seeing Bruce by himself. He's that playboy, all that. So kind of thinking of a Bruce Wayne where he's married and they're just fighting crime together, even though she's a cat thief or cat burglar, whatever you want to call it. Interesting. There's room, and I like things that deviate from the norm. And I also Ben Affleck is my favorite Batman. So
What? Are you fucking kidding me?
no, Ben Affleck. Listen, Ben Affleck. First, we're
I
gonna
didn't
have
know
to
he
talk.
was your
We're gonna
favorite.
well, Christian Bale is like the
What about like
best.
Michael Keaton or Adam
Mm,
West or
no, Christian
George
Bale portrayed
Clooney or
Batman really,
Val
or like
Kilmer
Christian Bale
or
did Bruce
literally
Wayne really
anybody
well.
else?
Batman Ben Affleck brought the brutality. I mean, yeah, he was killing people. Let's be honest, that
I'm
was
gonna go
fucked up,
Michael
Zach.
Keaton.
No, Michael Keaton wasn't. We'll talk about this because we should have had a Batman episode on Batman Day, but the file got corrupt, so we'll have to circle back to this. But I loved Ben Affleck. I thought he was
Michael
Bruce Wayne,
Keaton's better.
and I'm Batman. Anyways, transitioning a little to make some peace between us. Peacemaker, as we all know, is going to be in the Suicide Squad movie with James Gunn. John Cena is playing Peacemaker. Um, they are adding castings, so they're going to start filming in 2021. They're actually ramping up filming soon, I believe. But Chris Conrad is Adrian Chase slash Vigilante. Who that you've never seen this character really portrayed before.
Adrian Chase was in Arrow.
Yes. So I guess you have then. You're right. Adrian Chase was portrayed in Arrow and then like the finale on the boat. Spoiler, if you haven't seen Arrow at this point, you missed out on this season particularly because he was great.
But yeah, he came across as as a friend
Yeah, he was like a
at first.
friend.
Yeah,
He's like the DA, but turns out he's like, no, I'm a bad guy, blah, blah, blah. And like he blew himself up on the boat and you thought everybody died.
and he killed
Well,
the mom.
yes, he killed the mom to Oliver Queen's son in the show. So we're gonna see Adrian Chase yet again. Correction. So you're not gonna see this on next week's episode of Things We Got Wrong. We're gonna see another iteration of Vigilante.
Or will you?
You have Jennifer Holland as Amelia Harcourt. Apparently, she's in the Suicide Squad movie. Rip Fighter as Augie Smith and Danielle Brooks, and it's going to be an origin story of Peacemaker. So a lot of people assumed that because Peacemaker was getting a TV show, he doesn't die in Suicide Squad. That's not necessarily the case. James Gunn said he pretty much has free reign to kill whomever he wants in that movie, but we all know Harley Quinn's not going to fucking die. She's probably the only one that won't die. But
No, she's worth too much.
no, they're making money off Harley
And she's
Quinn,
way
Margot
too hot.
Robbie. I love Margot Robbie. Um, so yeah, Peacemaker's origin story. I'm excited. John Cena has some acting chops, I think, and then you're also it's gonna be on HBO
He
Max.
really does, yeah.
So I'm excited. I would like to. I don't know a lot about Peacemaker, so it's gonna be kind of cool seeing somebody who's not your like big major villain in the DC universe or anything like that. Um,
Hmm.
so that's exciting. I know we're gonna have a Doctor Who episode come up soon. I've been rewatching David Tennant is my doctor. I got the man's
Oh, he's mine
autograph.
too.
I
Hands down.
actually, fun fact is, my first child was conceived the day I met David Tennant. So I only know that because my wife was living in North Carolina at the time, and so we would go months without seeing each other. Well, the next time I saw her after that, she told me she was pregnant. So yes, David Tennant, shout out to you because you're the reason why my son is on this earth today. Little do you know. Um, so they started filming Doctor Who
I love
again.
that.
They started filming Doctor Who. Jodie Whittaker is still the Doctor. I haven't watched all of her series yet as a Doctor, but we're
I haven't
following.
either, but
I
they make
like
it
her.
difficult. I don't even know like what I need to do to watch it. I got HBO Max and then it
It used to
wasn't
be on
like
Amazon
conducive to
Prime, and
my
then they got rid of it.
right. And I was willing to pay for the whole last episode on Prime, and I feel like I couldn't even do that. I don't know what's going
I
on,
don't
but I
know.
mean, I saw the first season with Jodie Whittaker, and I thought she did a great job. I know there
Yeah,
was a
she's
lot of
fantastic.
doubt. Yeah, there was a lot of doubt and speculation, and it was actually kind of interesting to see the Doctor as a female because like they did that whole witch episode
Well,
where
that
she
he's
was
always been
like
like, "Am I a
so
girl?"
frustrated, right? And then like one of her companions like had to take the lead because he was a dude, and so it was interesting to see that because I mean like my grandmother watched Doctor Who in the 60s, so
Yeah,
it's like
yeah.
you're just so accustomed to seeing this one character. But yeah, no, I need to catch up, and we are going to do that Christmas Doctor Who special for
We
sure.
are. There's always a Christmas Doctor Who special, which it's always kind of special to me, just because seeing you often get a bunch of the doctors together again, and it's
Hmm.
great because I didn't like Matt Smith a lot. I was okay with him.
Oh, I
Peter
like him.
Capaldi, I was kind of like, but David
Yeah.
Tennant, I love David Tennant, man.
Oh,
He's
he's my favorite,
phenomenal in
but
anything he's in. And then yeah, I
yeah,
like
we'll
it.
save more of that for that episode. But
But
yeah,
yeah,
at
we'll
least we
save
can
it.
agree on who the best Doctor is. It's
Um,
definitely 10.
yes, yes. Things might get a little magical here. I know you're not a big Harry Potter fan. I am. My son actually just watched the first Harry Potter, and every day this week he's been talking about, can I watch Harry Potter, Dad? Can I watch Harry Potter, Dad? However, caveat to that is I fucking hate the Fantastic Beasts series. It's trash. It's awful. And if you listen to our last episode, Johnny Depp has been fired, even though Amber Heard. Don't even get me started.
Dun dun
The point
dun.
being, Mads Mikkelsen, whom you know as Galen Erso, who created the magical exhaust port in Rogue One for the Death Star. He was the key creator of the Death Star in Rogue One. He's in talks to play Grindelwald, who again, Grindelwald is like a powerful evil wizard who J.K. Rowling just lets us know, even though nobody fucking asked, that they had sexual relations or whatever. Like, I don't care. She's just J.K. Rowling's like just weird. She'll just randomly be like, these two characters fucked, whatever. And so Dumbledore and Grindelwald had a relationship, and I actually was really excited to kind of see that portrayed in the movies. Johnny Depp was Grindelwald, but he's been fired uh, kind of unfairly, in my opinion. But I'm not here to judge. I am merely just a peasant. And then last bit of news,
Portraying the news.
one of my favorite cartoons. I just have fond memories of watching this show. I have fond memories of, Zombie Island, all that kind of stuff, like the Mystery Gang. Ken Spears, who is a co-creator of the Scooby Doo series, has passed away. We'll have to do a Scooby Doo episode at some point because I
Hmm.
love Scooby Doo, one of my
Right.
favorites. And if you've listened to us, we talked to Western Collective a couple weeks ago. The Mystery Gang actually won their Halloween competition this year. So
Nice.
Scooby Doo is one of
One.
those things that's transcendent of time.
Yeah, I mean, they did a whole episode of Supernatural where they actually became Scooby Doo characters and they were part of Scooby Doo. And Dean's like big about like Daphne and whatnot.
Ooh,
So
Velma.
I mean, yeah, and I remember when the first movie came out, and the one dude's that plays Shaggy, who's from Scream, was it Matt
Matthew Lillard.
Lillard?
Yes,
He's like,
he
the girl's
was.
like, my name's Mary. Yeah,
My
he
man's
was
got done
Shaggy.
so dirty. He played in the movies, and then he was the voice of Shaggy in all the animated TV
Oh,
series,
I didn't know
movies.
that.
And then they
Oh,
replaced his ass, and he didn't even know until he looked on Twitter one day. He was replaced by whichever. He's a big name actor. I can't remember who it is at the moment, but he got replaced in the latest Scooby Doo animated movie, which a lot of people were outraged by. And I agree because Matthew Lillard was Shaggy. He did a fantastic job. And so, yeah, he carried this. He was Shaggy for the longest of times and then got
right.
replaced one day and found out via Twitter. So, pretty
That would
shitty.
suck to find out you're fired via Twitter.
No, no
But I
kidding.
just I remember because I was when I saw the movie, yeah, the first movie came out in 2002 with Matthew Lillard and Freddie Prinze Jr. and I was working at a daycare then, and so I was well, I we over the summer, the kids wouldn't be in school. We'd take them to the pool in the morning, and then we did different things each day. And like we'd go see the movie in the afternoon. I remember watching him meet this girl named Mary Jane. And he's like, Mary Jane, that's my
Yeah, because, Shaq.
favorite name. And like the beginning of the movie is like the mystery machine, just like because they're making hot dogs in the van, they're making hot dogs. So, and of
Notorious
course, this is going right over all
stoners.
these kids' heads, and all the counselors are laughing. Yeah.
I just
So,
want to point out my wife just
okay.
sent me a snap of an ice pack on my dog's junk. I like
Aw.
so I have a puppy. He just turned 1 tomorrow, and he ate his cone of silence around his head because he just got fixed. So I came home to he just ate it. And I just got a Snapchat of my wife sitting there with an ice pack on his goods. And he's the dumbest, most lovable dog. That is my spirit animal. Anyways, we're getting off on a tangent. What kind of news? I know you got some big news. Finally, rejoice.
Yes. So I think by the time this airs, though, everybody will probably have heard it, and we've already posted WandaVision, January 15th.
We
We
have a
have been
date.
waiting for this.
We have a date.
Honestly, I thought it, yes. So hopefully 2021. It's we got no MCU in 2020. That's crazy to me.
Thanks,
So we're finally going
COVID.
to start off 2021 with WandaVision. So hopefully that is a sign of things to come. Oh, and
No,
you
I
had
know.
actually seen, for anybody who saw, they had the whole behind the scenes Mandalorian
Oh yeah,
episodes.
I forgot to mention that.
Yeah, they're going to do one with WandaVision. So that was news you found that I was very excited about.
Yes, we'll get behind the scenes. Paul Bettany, Elizabeth Olsen. You can never get enough of those two. And it looks like there's going to be some other actors slash actresses in this series. Who's coming? Who should we
We're getting
expect?
Lieutenant. We're getting Lieutenant Trouble.
Lieutenant Dan.
So she's from Captain Marvel. Captain Marvel's best friend, her daughter, Lieutenant Trouble, is actually going to be in WandaVision.
Who
I don't
is
know how they're
Lieutenant
bringing that
Trouble?
in.
I don't actually know who she
Monica
is.
Rambi.
I'm not familiar with the character.
Remember in Captain
I know who
Marvel,
the girl is. I'm just
her
saying,
best friend.
do we know the background on Lieutenant Trouble? Is she a good guy, a bad guy? I don't know too much.
Oh, she's got to be a good guy. I don't know enough, but she's portrayed as a hero. They said she's going to be a
So
hero. So
then I do
I've
wonder.
never read anything on her.
I wonder. So it's an homage to a bunch of old style television. You have the black and whites. You have like the all those. I wonder if part of it's going to be in the present day, and is it going to lead into Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness then?
Honestly, I don't know. I don't even want to speculate because I feel like I just want to wait and see what they do. But I mean, none of it makes sense because Vision died in Infinity Wars and he didn't
Yeah,
disappear into dust. He straight up died.
but Wanda
So
is
I
like
don't
the
know.
strongest out there. So my kind of theory is that she kind of built up in her head that this whole existence kind of built up in her head in her own reality because she can bend time, space, all that kind of stuff. And then obviously they have kids in some way, which the kids in the comic books are big time heroes. And so they
Which even that in of itself makes no sense because he's not human.
Yeah, I am very curious how this goes about. I wonder if it's all made up and then somehow it's all in her mind, and so she's kind of the villain of the whole series, and that
Right.
reality kind of breaks, and somehow Vision comes back to life in all this. I'm not sure.
I guess
I
that's why I don't really want to speculate because I honestly have no idea.
True, but
But
yeah,
we'll see.
I'm excited nonetheless. It's going to be great. I know we have WandaVision, and then I honestly feel like right as soon as WandaVision ends, because it's 6 episodes, I wonder if Falcon Winter Soldier is going to come out, and then you're going to get Loki, and then at that point you just might keep rolling with like Obi-Wan Kenobi or somebody, and then or at most you might have a little break, and then you go into Mandalorian
The
season
what
3
if? Oh,
or the
yeah.
What If. Yeah, I mean we might even get What If in between then. I have no idea.
Yeah.
So we might get
I know,
some
but yeah, they
good
said they were
stuff.
going to be like 6 mini movies. So I'm guessing they're going to be around at least an hour, I would hope, since we're only getting
Well,
six. And
yeah,
I'm
they
sure they're
did say
only going to
6 mini
release once a
movies, so I
week.
think it's going to be an hour long ish. I mean that's great, and they had a lot of fun filming it. From their
Yeah.
EW article that just came out, they were really high on it. So
Yeah. So the Flash comes back February 23rd, 2021. They never finished the last season, so they still have to wrap that up. And it's a shortened season. They're only doing 18, which is still a lot, but compared to their 21 to 23 run.
right.
None of the other shows seem to have official release dates yet. I know Swamp Thing is fairly new and running.
Oh, they just
Um,
you can watch Swamp Thing now on CW, the streaming app. But that's been out for a couple of years at this point. They
yeah,
only
I
did
haven't.
one
I
season
had
and done.
just heard of that, but I aren't they still going though? That's because it seems like that's one of the newer episodes. Because if you go to the CW page, because I have been, because I'm staying up to date on Supernatural because
Yeah.
it's about to end, and that's one of the few new ones. So it looks like
Hmm.
they have new episodes.
Maybe. I don't actually know. Last I heard is they canceled it, but I've never actually watched Swamp Thing, which is kind of a travesty because I heard it's a really great show.
Yeah, I might have to go into that. I just every time I hear Swamp Thing, I just want to think Swamp Thing.
And then you picture Charlie Sheen coming out to pitch.
You may, I know it's Wild Thing.
I know. Yes. Yes.
Right, right. But my little brother had a Swamp Thing doll and he used to sing that. But yes, I know it's Wild Thing. And then my last bit of news is November 29th is Small Craft Brewery Day. So you should already be at a brewery
Support.
that
You
day,
should
but
already
if you're not,
support
go.
your small local breweries. Big breweries don't need our money. I mean, they do to a degree. However, the small breweries such as the ones that we're going to have on our in just a moment here, they go support them because they're doing things that are probably better than your giant traditional breweries. I know everybody loves their Bud Light, things like that, but expand your palettes, get out there, support, because it is 2020. We are never getting out of this COVID nightmare because people can't just fucking do what they need to do. They can't think about somebody other than themselves. And this we have an education problem is how I feel, but this is not what you came here for. So yeah, support them.
And that's your TED Talk.
Get out there, support them. Buy a sticker, buy a T-shirt, buy a hat. You don't have to buy beer. You don't have to like their beer. You just support it in one way or another. And this is their livelihood, and this is how we get to have really great things. So small brewery, be there or be square. You L7 weenies.
Wasn't it you that explained why you had what the be there be square thing came from recently?
I just know L7 weenie. So you got your L7 weenie.
I already
You're killing me,
forgot.
Smalls. It
Damn
wasn't
it.
me though. I did not explain where the be there be square came from. I'm a
Maybe
square.
my daughter told me.
Probably was. She's smarter than the both of us. So
She is.
so other than that, we have Woodland Empire. We are about to interview them. So we really hope you enjoy the interview. They are doing really great things out of Boise, Idaho. They've been open for about 6 years. They're one of the bigger breweries in town. Their can art is amazing, and I got a feeling we're gonna really enjoy it. So Rob and Keely Landerman from Woodland Empire Brewing, Boise, Idaho. Hey everybody, Mash and Hoppy here. We are here with Rob and Keely Landerman. They are the owners of one of my favorites, and they just blew my mind, which we're going to get into in a minute. But they are the owners of Woodland Empire Brewing in Boise, Idaho. If you follow Hops News, the normal other show, we've had a lot of Idaho breweries, and this is one of the ones I've been more stoked for because their can art. If you're watching on YouTube on tonight, it's Wednesday technically on the time this airs. I'm drinking a Swallow My Pride, and they have some of the best can art I've probably seen in the town alone. So really excited. Thank you guys for joining us tonight. How are you guys doing?
Doing good.
Good.
Thank you for having us.
Yes. So I'm just going to jump into this because my mind is still so blown. We are kind of discussing a little bit, and they have like a mixtape series beer, and they have the B-sides, and on the side of their cans, you can actually scan Spotify. If you're watching, you can scan Spotify, and it pulls up a whole playlist of music that they run. So that's amazing. What gave you guys that idea? What was the inspiration behind that?
Well, I started doing the mixtape IPA series 3
years ago?
3 or 4 years ago. I don't remember anymore.
What is time?
2020 has been 20 years, so who knows?
Look, time is a flat circle at this point. Whatever.
Yeah. We started doing the mixtape series monthly. So we're doing every month. We're releasing a new IPA. And the idea was, we'll name them after songs. Well, kind of the other way around. Normally we'd listen to a song and we'd be like, oh, this would be a cool beer. And so then we would try to figure out how to like harness the idea of a song and turn it into a beer. So it's usually the name came first, beer came second. And then we realized that we were kind of burning people out on IPAs because we were doing one every month. So a couple years ago, we started doing the B-side series. So 1 month will be a mixtape IPA. Next month is a B-side. They started out all being songs that were actually B-sides. That became a whole other chore. So the B-side series is everything besides IPAs.
Oh,
but they're also musically thematic.
That is so. You guys
I was
are.
wondering what that was.
Yeah, it's good. I'm drinking an actual mixtape IPA series. I'm drinking the Swallow My Pride. It's got vanilla malted milkshake IPA with Centennial, Idaho 7, vanilla and lactose. And I get a lot of the vanilla when I actually initially taste it, which is it's really good. You see a lot of like milkshake IPAs coming out now, and that's something I'm kind of newer to, I guess. I'm used to your traditional like New England IPAs, not so much on the West Coast because I spent my whole life on the East Coast. I'm not gonna lie, this whole West Coast living in Idaho thing is still new to me. But yeah, this is a wicked good beer. Hoppy. Which
That's
one?
how northeast he is. He said wicked
Yes,
good.
I'm originally from Boston. Yes. So I might say wicked
messages too.
I
hear the Boston you're texting.
Oh yeah, I think I don't even notice it anymore. I'll just say like wicked, and everyone just like stops if they never like talk to me, or even my boss now just kind of stops and has to laugh, and I'm like, I know, man, it's just who I am. Let's just push past it. All right.
I just picture Mark Wahlberg every time he says it.
Totally. Said
Mark
wicked
Wahlberg.
good in a text message today, and I was like, I know where he's from.
Stereotypes exist. I can't be mad. Yes.
But yeah, I'm enjoying the Not Into Yoga. It's the Hellas Lager with coconut and pineapple. And I text Mash sent me this. I got it today, just in time. I like was walking out the door to go pick up beer and saw the package on my doorstep and was like, I gotta get this in the fridge real quick because I need it for tonight. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is perfect for Guardians of the Galaxy
Oh no, bye Hoppy.
themed beer. And then I had to explain to him what the song is because he did not know. I know I said this before we started the podcast, but I had to put it on. It's got to be recorded.
Look,
So I had to sing a little.
I've
If you're
heard
not
the
into
song.
yoga,
I've heard the song. I just honestly I didn't
well,
realize
if you're a
that-
Guardians of the Galaxy fan, obviously you've heard the song. But there's actually a brewery in Tampa called Hidden Springs that did a Not Into Yoga beer as well, and it was like a pina colada sour. I don't remember exactly, but yeah. So that's, I mean, such a clever name.
My wife's gonna be so disappointed because she's always like sings
a
a
good
song
beer.
and she's like, "Do you not know that song?" And I'm like, I know it if
It's
I
such a
listen.
weird song, but it's so catchy and good. I mean, like,
It's not
yeah, they're cheating on each other,
Like
but with each other.
with each other.
other.
Yeah. They take out personal ads in the paper and respond to them because they're
Yeah.
like trying to be jealous, and they end up finding out that they're the one they want to be with.
Right.
Wait, is that the song? Really?
Yes.
Yeah.
And
What
for all
the-
you kids listening, personal ads are basically Tinder, but in the paper.
Yeah.
They are, yeah. The song is actually called Escape.
What?
Yes.
What the? So you guys, I know
His
we
mind's
talked a
being
little.
blown. His mind's
Look, this
wicked
is
blown right now.
this has been like the most educational beer experience of my life. I won't even lie right now. This is great. You guys have just this is crazy. So you're wicked big into music then. So that's kind of the inspiration behind beers, I take it.
Yeah, I mean, I think very early on that was the idea. Back when we were homebrewing together, long before we made a brewery, I think music always was part of the brew day, and a lot of times you're like, ah, it'd be cool to harness this whole the emotion of this moment into a beer, and then so we started kind of figuring out how to like work backwards from a, what you want someone to feel or think when they're drinking a beer, and then how to like translate that into a recipe and create that beer. That was always kind of how we started.
I love that. It's like a backwards
Yeah.
idea of what a lot of people would do. What's been
Mm.
your hardest beer, or I guess I should say the hardest song that you've had to transition into a beer?
Ooh. Um.
Shit.
Oh, did I? I'm sorry.
Oh no.
No,
No.
yeah. Um.
It's a good question. We're just like way too far into life to have a lot of like, we can't pull back that far.
I'm gonna
Well,
be
I'm on my
honest.
third beer, so anything will do.
I straight up am just like picturing you guys homebrewing. It's like a montage from a romantic comedy, and that's kind of what I'm picturing right now. Is it's like singing the songs, dance. I don't know why that's what comes to head, but that is the life I am so. That's the life I'm
That
picturing.
is exactly how it
Exactly how it was.
yeah.
No, I mean our brew days, like home brewing. It was like nerdily curated as far as like what the soundtrack was going to be
Mhm.
for that brew day.
Uh-oh.
So you have it's kind of
Yep.
the same.
Oh, that is that is.
You'll hear
it's-
some weird shit if you walk into the brewery.
Well, I was gonna say I walk in there, and every time I walk in, there's like some good music playing. I'm like, dang, I never. I'm always with like my kids, or we're on our way, so I never actually had a chance to sit in there and actually drink a pint in the brewery, which is sucks
Right.
because the vibe in there with the music playing. I love good music. I love good beer, and you guys really have the vibe going. And you're kind of in the city, and that is all things that I personally really enjoy.
Yeah.
So how do you guys, I guess, match up ingredients to a song then? Is one like, oh, this song goes hard, so we kind of got to go hard with the hops or things like that?
Or the ABV.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean there's all those different elements. Yeah, I mean if something is I don't know, if it's like a lighter
Yeah.
It seems
it's
like you
tough.
guys do a lot of it on how you feel.
Yeah, it's just like one
Yeah.
of those like spur of the moment kind of things then.
Well, you'll be like listening to the song and you'll think about like what the song's trying to say or how it makes you feel, and then we'll think about how that translates into like the final product. And so you'll think about what the final beer is matching the song, and then we'll go, okay, so to get that, we would use this mash at this temp to get that kind of body, that kind of thing. So it's all, yeah, you're kind of like dissecting parts of the song and kind of like extrapolating that into actual like beer ingredients.
Yeah, and then like what time of year it is and how that makes you feel, and and then go from there.
I'm not even.
That's so interesting.
A lot of like feeling based. I feel, and
Yeah.
that's incredible. I don't know. I really like that. It's a lot of, well, because so much of life.
We were
is-
a different kind of geek.
Well, no, like I love it though, because so much of everything you see, especially nowadays in 2020, I feel like everyone has to have something planned out every second of every day. And I even myself, I'm at a fault to that. My wife will call me out. She's like, you always have to have something planned. So to kind of
I'm the
like
same way. Yeah.
put your just feelings into a thing that you really love to do, I guess you don't see a lot of that anymore. And that's something that a lot
Yeah.
of people don't appreciate. And
Yeah.
my mind is still being blown because I just never realized it. And I'm all about it.
So, I mean, come on, not into yoga, and you didn't even ask. I almost text you like, do you get it? Because if he gets a reference, he responds appropriately. But if he doesn't get a reference, he just moves along.
She knows me
Like-
too well. So to be clear, we've actually never met in person, Hoppy and I. But yeah,
Oh, really?
we're pretty into
We
tune.
met through the Hops News podcast, and then we did our own spin-off of like, because we would go off on tangents on this beer podcast about anything, Game of Thrones or Marvel or DC. And so it was like,
we
we
gotta
did our own.
take this on the road, and
Right.
we did.
But yes, I guess I did learn. But like last week I mentioned we were talking about John Favreau and I said, "You're so money, you don't even know your money." And he didn't respond. I'm like, he didn't respond to my swingers quote.
I responded in
That's
spirit.
yeah, that's
But with this being a geek podcast, we got to know your origin story. So how did
Yes.
you guys decide to, I'm sure a lot of people started obviously home brewing, but how did you get to that progression of like, well, let's open a brewery?
So I guess like way back at the beginning, we met in Austin, Texas. A buddy of mine
Great beer
named
scene.
who is still currently brewing, so props to Nate. He and I worked together. We were good buds, and he taught me how to homebrew, got me into craft beer. And then fast forward, when Keely and I met, I was probably at like the peak of my homebrewing, and so I was like, "Hey, this is a big part of me, so you got to do it with me." And then we I don't know, she and I would just kind of listen to music and come up with cool ideas. You know, you can go to the store and get this beer, so let's make this weird thing. And so we would just come up with like weird random recipes and fail a bunch and figure out stuff. You know, when you mess up, you learn. And
yeah,
we started to kind of hone in a lot of recipes. And then I got a job brewing professionally in Texas, in San Antonio.
Ooh,
Worked there for Ranger Creek Brewing and Distilling in San Antonio. Helped open that place up, and then worked there for a handful of years, and it was, you know, a lot of work. And I was like, you know, we could probably run our own brewery if we wanted to. And then a friend of ours that worked at Live Oak Brewing in Austin was like, you know what, the place is Boise, Idaho. And we're like,
what?
Boise, Idaho.
Wow.
He was like, they're like close to all these raw materials, and it's a young beer scene. There's not a lot of breweries, but it's like in the Pacific Northwest. So like a year later, she and I decided to do that, and then we told him, we're like, "Hey, we're going to Boise." He's like, "Cool, good luck."
Wow, that's crazy.
So we moved to Boise and found investors and opened a brewery.
Wow,
That's
that is
crazy.
Anytime I tell somebody like I was moving to Idaho, they'd always give me the, "Oh wow, that exists. That's a state. That's a place." And I'm like, "Yeah."
And they thought it was in the Midwest, right?
Yeah, and they're like, "Oh," and then they're like, "So you're going to whatever, like Boise?" I'm like, "No, I'm going to Mountain Home." And they're like, "What is that?" And even me, when I pulled off the highway, I was in the middle of nowhere. My wife was like, "I should have divorced you." It's like, I would not have blamed you. It is so bizarre. What's that?
Took you to Mountain Home.
So I am in the Air Force. I've been in about 9 years now, and I was lucky enough. I went from Florida to New Hampshire, and I was living the dream. It was like a year, and all of a sudden they kind of shut down the place I was at, and they said, "You can go to Idaho or you can go to New Mexico." And I was like, "There ain't no way you're." I am not a desert human being. I need cold weather to survive. So I was like, I guess I'm going to go hike the mountains of Idaho because I'm a big hiker. And so I've been here about a year now. And I will say your sensei, so to speak, I'm going to call him your sensei. I think that sounds a lot better in this journey. He was kind of right about the Boise beer scene. There is a lot of beer that kind of I didn't know about or even think about, and it's up and coming. And so I was reading, you guys have the third largest brewery in Boise. Is that still true? I was reading off your guys' website a while ago.
Yep. At Sockeye in Boise, and then Payette, and then I guess statewide, Mother Earth is the biggest. So
I don't really count.
Well,
Mother Earth is originally from California, though. So do they count as a California brewery, or are they like
they're originally from California?
I was going to say, I didn't know they were from Idaho.
Nampa.
Yeah. Okay. So
no, they're from San Diego. They have for
couple years.
2 or 3 years now. They've had a brewery in Nampa, pretty large facility. So I think that they're eventually going to transition everything into Nampa.
Huh. Yeah, I knew they
And
just reopened their facility, so I didn't realize that they were actually like doing operations, I guess, in Idaho. So that's kind of interesting.
Because they're big. We get their beer here. If it's the one I'm thinking of, I can picture the label.
The M and the E.
But it says on your website you guys use Idaho ingredients. Are you able to use 100% Idaho ingredients to make your beer?
Not for everything, but we try to use as much as we can, and that's a lot of what took
Like
us a year
outside
when
of
we were thinking
adjuncts.
about where to go. Mhm. Yeah, when we were thinking about where to open, that's one of the things we considered was access to raw materials. There wasn't a ton at the time in Texas. Like you couldn't get barley or hops really in Texas.
Oh, yeah.
I think there's some of those now, but Idaho has 90% of like U.S. barley production, and then 30% of U.S. hops. We're like the second highest hop production state in the country, and that's 45 minutes from the brewery. So the majority of our hops, all of our core beers, all of the hops come from Parma, which is like 45 minutes away from the brewery.
So do you go and pick it up and get to like, hand pick what you want, or do you just order it and then they bring it to you?
We contract with them, so we each year, you pick what we're going to use and how many pounds we're going to get. So we kind of select the varieties that we'll want, and then how many pounds, and then they hold on to that stuff for us.
Huh.
Okay.
That's pretty interesting. I've never been to a hop farm, but it's
it's really cool.
Yeah, this year obviously you can't really do anything. There's no fun allowed in
Right.
2020, but that's one of the things on the
Shout out
bucket
to
list.
95, our hop supplier. They do awesome, really in-depth hop tours. So
Oh,
yeah, if you get out,
wow.
maybe
Oh, I
next
have
is-
their sticker back there on my Idaho thing.
yeah.
Sweet.
Starts like in August.
Mm-hmm. So do you guys do any like wet hop beers? I know wet hop beer season is kind of a big thing out here, which I'm still kind of new
It
to
is
that.
anywhere that has a hop farm. Wet hop beer is because that's the freshest beer you're gonna get.
We like wet hop beers a lot. We don't tend to brew them because so many of them get brewed at that time. The market gets flooded, so then it's really hard to move kegs of wet hop beer, and they have a shorter shelf life. So we just drink other people's instead of making them ourselves.
What an interesting problem to have. That's not an issue in Florida.
That is interesting because you're right.
We do have hop farms now.
Oh, it's true.
Yeah.
I do.
Yeah, we actually have a couple hop farms in Florida, but we don't get many wet hopped beers because it's just not in mass production yet. So that is, an interesting, because that's why they don't do it, because of the shelf life, and you have to put it in the boil like immediately, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
One of the things that we do love about here, though, is that we've kind of teamed up with a couple bars and restaurants, and there's some chefs and cocktail makers that think like we do, and we've created a shared spreadsheet, and we list different botanicals and fruits and things that you can forage in the wild, and like where you can get it and what part of the plant to use. And then we'll go out and like forage together, so you can get like elderberries and elderflower, and there's like laurel bushes up on Bogus Basin, and all sorts of stuff. So we'll go forage stuff a lot and make beers with foraged ingredients. So there's tons of things locally that we can get for that, and that's super duper fun.
So I mean, an elderberry beer, I mean, that's just healthy. I mean, that's
Right.
That's the way I see it.
Yeah.
I mean, well, because you guys also just brewed. You had beets in your beer, correct? Like you guys just had like some vegetables in your beer too. Like, and I've never seen breweries really do that. So
yeah, a handful of years ago, we were doing like a Berliner Weiss series. That was called "Set 'Em Wild, Set 'Em Free," which is an Akron family song. But we had kind of exhausted all the normal fruits, and we were like, I don't know, I don't want to keep making the same thing that everyone else is making. What's something interesting we could put in a Berliner? And we teamed up with the local farm and got carrots, juiced them, and made a carrot Berliner Weiss. And we're like, no one will like this. It's really delicious, but I think everyone's gonna be like, what the fuck? And so it turned out to be very successful. And then people started asking us to do one with beets because the carrot one was so good. So we made a beet Berliner Weiss. Using local beets, and so then we did this collaboration with another local brewery, Works Progress Administration, and all those beers go to like charitable causes. So that one supported the Treefort Live Music Relief Fund to support local musicians during COVID who aren't working.
Yeah, and that's a hard hit industry too.
Yeah,
it's crazy. So we want to do something interesting and delicious and fun, and we thought, turn up the beats. We made a really good Hellas lager.
That's awesome.
And, added some beets to it, like dry beated it. Add beets in the fermenter, like you would dry hopping, and blackberries. Yeah.
Ooh, I love
like
blackberries.
a blackberry beet Hellas lager. It is really good.
I'll be honest, I was
makes-
kind of timid to try it because of the beets alone, but now I kind of wish I did, just because I mean I'm sure you can't really taste a bunch of the beets. You get a lot of probably the blackberries and the hellas and all that kind of stuff. So I kind of wish I did.
They put together pretty well, and it's really nice. There's a kid that comes in, one of our regulars, and he told me he was disgusted that we did it because his dad used to make him eat beets when he was a kid. And he hates beets. I was like, man, you'd be surprised. I gave him a little sample. And he tried it, and he just looked at me. He's like, I hate you.
I hate
He's like,
you.
You're awful, but this is delicious. Oh,
Very good.
start having repressed memories.
Beets
So-
always makes me think of the show Doug. Remember, like they
Oh,
like
yeah,
were like
yeah,
so
yeah.
into beets.
I love that show. God, I love
But beets are good with some goat cheese. They're delicious.
Right?
Oh my gosh, my son. So are you
You're
guys-
rolling your eyes over there. I don't know what's going on.
my son, all I hear is Dad, Hank's eating a bug.
Oh.
Who's our dog? I come home. He got fixed last weekend. He came home. He ate his cone off. It's wild. I don't know what's going on in my life.
I thought you were rolling your eyes at beets and goat
No,
cheese. I was
no,
like,
no, no,
Don't knock it till you try
All I
it.
hear, my wife isn't home yet. She works at the hospital, so she works kind of later. So all I hear is my son over there is Dad, Dad. So I'm like trying not to like yell at him, turn the sound down. So I apologize.
No, you're
Um,
fine.
Do you guys play instruments too? Since you're such music lovers, do you guys play any instruments or make music of your own?
A little bit. We both used to play music professionally, but
Oh wow.
not anymore.
Gave up.
we're past that. No, I was in a band. Rob's been in several bands. I played keyboards and
Oh, wow.
sang a little bit. I'm trying to learn the ukulele, but
Oh, I have one.
You
If
have
you ever
that?
need to
We-
borrow one, I have
Art.
one.
no,
She's got
I
one.
have one. It was,
She's got one.
but yeah, I'm just not good.
It's really just owning the brewery is 7 days a week, and then we have two
Yeah.
kids who are growing up, and so
Oh
we're
yeah, I do.
mostly tired.
Oh my god, I can relate. I have a 5 and a 2-year-old, so it's just like work, school, exhaustion, and you're just like,
Yeah.
We got a
So-
12 and a 9-year-old.
Oh
And
man.
mine are 3, 8, and 17.
See, your
Oh,
guys is
dang.
at least are somewhat self-sufficient. I have Dad.
I have
Hank ate a
3
book.
now. You've heard some of the because like right before we go live, because our Hops News is actually live. So it's like right before we go live, it's like it's a shit show at my house. I mean, they're
Yeah.
screaming, there's not a boo-boo, you can't catch me, there's brush your teeth. It's all over the place. So I mean, yeah, I like to have them at all stages so I can experience the benefits of toddler, elementary, and high school at the same time. It's wonderful.
We're out right now in the fort that we built for our kids that our oldest is using for his online school shack.
Ah,
So that way we had some peace and quiet, because otherwise it would be pure anarchy.
yeah. Well, my daughter does some of her homeschool here sometimes, and when she goes like on the videos, I'm like, you can't have the beer in the background. You need to move. Like if she's talking to like the teacher or something. But she was FaceTiming a friend of hers, which I'm friends with the parents, and I hear the husband hop on. He goes, "Is that Hoppy Mommy Junior? What you got going on over there?" Because he could see the whole background.
You're bougie loose, kids, remember.
Right.
So I gotta ask too, the can arts. Did you guys design the can arts yourself, or do you guys kind of have another art? Because I know you guys promote a lot of like local artists within the brewery. Do you like source it out, or do you guys kind of come up with these concepts?
So Keely, who's pretty modest, she's our head brewer. So she's in charge of all the beer that gets made, makes most of it herself, and she does 95% of the can art, 99%
Oh, wow.
of the can art.
She does. it.
The mixtape labels are done by a friend of ours, Ryan Butters, who used to bartend for us. But he does the mixtape labels for us. And I think maybe once or twice someone else has made a label, but every other label Keely draws by hand, and then I'll
Wow.
finish them in Illustrator.
That is
Nice.
that is-
So this
you guys-
one's going to be from her.
Yep.
Yep, that's me.
I got
I
this
think
one
it
from
was, yeah, it
Butters.
was Woodland Empire too. He sent me a while ago, the one with the rainbow and the pineapples on the rainbow.
Yep.
It was the
Yeah, that was, I think that was the first one of their beers you sent me. It was an IPA.
I know I've sent you a few because they're the. You
I
guys
believe,
are
if I remember
honestly
correctly. It
one of
was
the
really good.
breweries I always pick up their beer. Like if I go to Brewers Haven or I'm in the area, I always make sure to stop by and I'm like, can art alone, I don't care what it is, I'm grabbing it based off that. And then I'm like, holy shit, this beer is amazing at the same time. So phenomenal work
Yeah.
you do between.
Thank you.
Awesome.
That was always
Thank
part
you.
of the plan from the beginning was, setting yourself apart, and trying to make it fun and seem fun and be approachable to people. And so when we started, we were doing this kind of art, and we got a lot of criticism for it because it was not in vogue back then, 7 years ago.
Huh.
It's not that
Uh-oh.
long ago, but in craft beer, that's like dog years,
Right.
And yeah, so we got a lot of flack for having this flowery beer art that was not super corporate looking like everyone else.
Right.
But I think it's done well for us because now you see a beer and it's a Woodland beer.
That is very
That's
true.
yeah. It seems like a lot of times the things that aren't popular, like yeah, they end up becoming popular. I mean, hell, we're running a geek podcast. If that's not the epitome of,
Totally.
before its
We
time.
used to get
but-
stuffed in lockers, man.
Right.
I did not get stuffed in lockers, but I also didn't read comic books in high school.
I've always been like 6'4", so I guess I never got stuffed in lockers either.
You're like, damn it, he's too big.
I don't fit inside lockers. I am.
No, I went to
South
school in
Florida.
South Florida. We didn't shove people in lockers. They danced on top of them during riots.
You guys had riots? Wait a second. What the
Oh,
hell?
we had riots. We had bomb scares.
What?
We had stabbings. Again,
kind
South
of-
Florida.
Hold on. Like,
And they
South
were all
Florida.
done by alligators.
did you see that alligator
Exactly.
today that they like?
And all
posted
our
that's going
teachers were
around?
Florida men.
Oh
Oh, because
my
of the flooding down south. That yeah, no.
that
it's- I mean,
alligator's like that's my lunch money
Huge.
now. Holy shit!
Terrifying.
yeah, it's fine. Alligator deaths are very, very, very rare. I don't recommend eating them though. They're very tough. They're like rubber. I don't know. I don't like eating
Ew,
gator.
I'm not eating alligator. Do I look like Bobby Boucher?
Well, I barely eat any dead animals at all, so gator is terrible.
So
So I have a couple more questions though. I saw you guys actually offered some of your beer in Tavor. Do you guys still do that?
Yeah, we do. It's kind of up to Tavor what they take, and sometimes if we offer them something and they have a lot of that style at the time, they won't take something.
Oh, okay.
So the last couple IPAs we've offered them, and they just had like a lot of IPA offerings at the time, so they didn't need another one.
Do you distribute outside of Idaho other than that?
Yeah, we're in Western Oregon and Central Alaska.
Mm-hmm.
Oh wow.
oh wow, Alaska,
South
really?
Central.
South Central.
Yeah, we're in like Fairbanks and Anchorage and the surrounding areas of those
Huh.
two.
Oh, that's pretty cool. We've done a crossover with another geek podcast, and one of them's in Alaska. So we'll
Yeah,
have to tell
Anchorage
him
as
next
well,
time
yeah.
we do something with them that because they also promote beer and whatnot.
Oh, cool.
But yeah, they have one guy on there that's way more knowledgeable than us, so their podcast is more,
We-
I guess, accurate.
We did beat them in
Shout out-
trivia. We did have a trivia
because-
challenge, and we did
because
win.
their expert was hosting. So shout out to JR because he knows his stuff.
I don't
But we
care.
did
A
win.
win's
We
a
did
win.
win.
A dub's a
A
dub.
win's a win. We are clearly the superior geek beer podcast.
It's so. I did tell Rob earlier. Now that we talked about art, one of the first beers I got was probably the Big Sticky, and I'm definitely getting that tattooed on my body. Like I'm big on tattoos and like very obscure. I love I have cartoons, superheroes, Star Wars, all the above, like tattooed. And so I saw the he's just like, that's my spirit animal, I feel like. So that is, don't be surprised when it shows up on Instagram. I'm like, look at the latest addition to the sleeve that I got going on.
Nice. Be honored.
We used to do a beer called So Juicy that had these two weird fruit monster guys on it, and a girl in Alaska got one tattooed on her.
Nice.
See,
That's
yeah.
when you know you're big.
Yeah, I mean, doing something right between the really great beer and then like the amazing art, and it's incredible. You guys really do incredible work. So I really appreciate you joining us tonight. I could probably talk your ears off all night.
Yeah, we're down.
But I would love to have you guys either come back on at some point, or I gotta get to the brewery and we'll just chat over a beer and whatever at some point. So thank you
that'd be great.
guys. Again, we have Rob and Keely Landerman on from Woodland Empire Brewing in Boise, Idaho. This week's guest. This is the first you've seen in them, and it's probably not going to be the last as well. So,
Hopefully.
cheers, guys. Really appreciate it.
Yes, cheers.
Cheers. Thank you guys so much for having us.
Thanks,
Yes,
guys.
thank you. That was Rob and Keely Landerman again from Woodland Empire Brewing, Boise. Sorry, I'm a little toasted at this point, I think. But next week's episode, what do we have coming up next week? I don't actually know.
Next week, we are actually going to be discussing our favorite Christmas movies. So it's going to be very similar to our horror movies episode. We're each going to pick some of our favorites, which we'll discuss so they're not the exact same, and do some fun facts. So even though I wasn't a horror movie buff, I actually very much so enjoyed learning all those fun facts. I will make sure that MASH doesn't include any Hallmark movies. Don't worry.
Time out.
We'll have
First of all, I'm going to do a whole YouTube episode. So catch us on YouTube. I'm honestly going to do a.
I won't be part of that.
I'm doing a YouTube like a Christmas guide to Hallmark movies. So keep a lookout for that.
Oh dear God. Yeah, or not.
Or do
My dad might. My dad texted me the other day. He's like, "Oh, there was I mean, it was a Lifetime Christmas movie, and they were in Solvang, California, which we went to a wedding in Solvang last year, and we went to a couple breweries over there as well. And Solvang is like a little Danish town, and the only heritage we can trace back to Europe is from Denmark, so we're big on
Yeah.
the whole Danish customs and whatnot. And so I responded, "Ha ha ha! We don't have that channel anymore." My dad's like, "Don't worry, I'll save it for you for next time you visit."
I love Hallmark Christmas movies, and I don't care who knows it.
I want to like them because I love Christmas so much.
They're
I
awful.
can't do
but
it.
You should just like them and drink beer,
But
or
I
wine,
can't.
or
I can't.
mojitos or whatever you want.
Mojitos. I do
They're-
love a good
you
mojito.
know what's gonna happen. You know what's gonna happen. But there's nothing
just-
I love more
it's
than
not,
sitting there
not
with
even enjoyable. It's like even if I'm alone, I'm embarrassed for myself. I can't do it. I
No
couldn't. I gave
shame.
up Grey's Anatomy years ago. I couldn't do that
No
anymore.
shame. I love
So much
The
shame.
wife and I sit down and we
Anyways,
watch.
we're gonna be talking about good movies, but we're gonna be talking The Ref, Elf,
Dare
Home
we.
Alone, Die Hard, Night Before, which MASH you need to watch.
True.
All right, my
The night
daughter
before
is.
I kicked Lauren off this damn podcast because she doesn't appreciate Hallmark Christmas movies.
I'm gonna start my own. It's gonna be called Hobbs Geek, not Hallmark Movies
Hobbs
News.
Geek alone.
Hobbs Geek alone. All right, my daughter has researched where Be There, Be Square or origination comes from.
The idiomatic word square.
Okay, hold on. Come here. I'm not gonna repeat everything you say. Go ahead and say it into the mic.
We got
The
a
idiomatic
guest.
word square originated between World War II and the 1950s beatnik era. It refers to people who are boring or out of touch with current trends and attitudes.
Kinda like
prior
your
to
mom right now.
This square referred to one's honest, good-natured personality or high-quality work.
Okay, that I didn't even get that.
Just look up square and it's gonna be you next to the definition because you don't like Hallmark movies.
I've also never played Dungeons or Dragons.
Oh my god.
I'm sorry, I did other things in high school.
I've dabbled. Ew. Stay off the pot, kids. Not even one marijuanas. Or you'll end up not knowing what Hallmark Christmas movies bring joy into life or whatever it is you hooligans did in the 80s.
I was in the 80s. I was born in the 80s. Jeez.
know. Well, anyways, you can find me at Matthew Tyler. You can find Hoppy Lauren at the Hoppy Mommy. We share Lego pics. We share beer pics. We share whatever it is. I share chick pics because my chickens are cute. Other than that, find us at Hops Geek News on the Instagrams.
Yeah,
if
he
you're
literally means chick pics.
I literally chick pics. Yeah, chick pics. Soon they're gonna be chicks with eggs. I don't know.
I like it. Wait, what?
Yes.
Chicks with what?
Chicks with eggs because I'm gonna get eggs for my chickens. I can't wait. We're coming up in the next couple weeks. They're gonna start laying eggs. It's gonna be phenomenal. I'm a farmer now.
All right. Yeah, this is
I
starting to
started
turn
from
to
the
feel
city.
unlucky.
We've gone off the rails. I hope you've all enjoyed. Find us on Wednesday evenings on youtube.com/Hops News. And then on Thursdays, if you search Hops News on your Apple, your Google, your Amazon, your whatever's, you'll find us.
All your podcast platforms.
All your podcast platforms. Go ahead and search Hops Geek News. Do's the Geek playlist, and you can find us where we talk all things. So thank you for joining us, and cheers.